Welcome to the Land Cave, where we are living as nerds, hanging out, talking video games, movies. We got some really cool news this week in the pre-E3, I don't know, pre-E3 moments. But yeah, we've got some really cool stuff. If you haven't checked us out before, make sure you're following us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube at TheLanCave. I'm joined by Owen as I keep talking over myself.
Pretty sure that if you were watching my camera feed, which the stream obviously was not, I can't hear the intro audio when he plays it. I'm pretty sure I had it right on, like, with the video.
You were pretty close. I could hear a little bit of it too.
Myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a slight delay, but it was pretty darn close to like the drum beats and stuff. So I was proud of you on that. Yeah, just talking gaming news, like I mentioned, and yeah, we're gamers. We talk about nerdy things, so you should hang out with us and talk about nerdy things as well, like video games that we've been playing. Which you checked out a game thanks to a pretty decent discount on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, so I picked up some Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
Which I almost can guarantee. I don't think it's currently on sale. It is still pretty cheap, but like I mentioned on our Facebook page at facebook.com/TheLanCave, be watching out for E3 sales, because I picked this game up for $7.50. Got me a nice 5-hour Call of Duty size campaign, but it was excellent. It's probably like the story's a little, it jumps around really fast, being what it is, but in terms of constantly moving, you could, if you had a full 5 hours, you could play through it in one setting easily, because it's that fun. The run style, if you've played Apex Legends and you have not played Titanfall, that's where Respawn got the majority of the mechanics for Apex Legends. That's where sliding happens, including in this game there's wall slides, which don't exist on Apex. Basically every gun that's in Apex, so you get to see kind of where Apex got its thing from. Good short story, you get to be inside the Titan. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it,
which is cool. But yeah, it is back on up to 30, so I think you got the Ultimate Edition, and I did too, for like $8, or something like that.
There's gonna be huge sales, probably starting Friday-ish. Everybody has them. Sony's, though, is going, like, they have so many titles. So I guarantee you can probably pick it up for cheap again.
Yeah, more than likely. If between Friday and probably Tuesday, people will still ride the E3 wave until the next weekend. So it's a good time to be a gamer.
Yeah,
I liked the first Titanfall, by the way. So I really want to check this one out. I played some retro games, played some Punch-Out this past Saturday, which is pretty fun. But I've been playing Magic the Gathering, as per usual, quite a bit. Oh, excuse me. Quite a bit, as they announced some new rules, which I won't go into, but they announced some new rules in regards to tournament play. And
quality of life update? Yeah.
I would say it's an update, but people are it's a mulligan rule essentially that they changed, and people are freaking out about how it gives advantage to certain decks. I'm like, I don't think it gives that much advantage to anyone.
I mean, there's still RNGesus.
Yeah, so I won't go into it, but to me, they were like, it favors combo decks. I don't think it's favoring anybody. I think that everybody's getting an advantage because of the way that it works, but I won't go into it here because I don't want to bore anybody.
No,
but
anything like that, though, still, mulligan rule still seems like it's still random what cards you get. You can't be guaranteed what card you're going to draw from any type of deck.
No, but the way that they changed it was you draw 7 and right, and then if you want a mulligan, then you shuffle everything else. You draw 7 again.
What? Oh, that's bull crap.
And then you take one. So if you take one card from your hand per times that you've mulliganed. So if it's your first time mulligan, you take one card out and you put it on the bottom of the deck.
But you get a chance to choose.
You get a chance to choose your next card. So if you've mulliganed, this is your third mulligan, you still draw 7, and then you take 3 and put them on the bottom.
Yeah. What are you talking about? Setting this news aside, we could talk about this. We have Magic the Gathering players here. For those of you who don't remember the original rule, if you mulligan, you're supposed to just draw 6 and then draw 5 and then draw 4. That you don't get a choice.
Yeah, and the only format that it was different was Commander, also known as EDH, which I don't know if you played. It's the multiplayer format. Which the first time you mulligan, you get 7 as well. But to me, I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's not an advantage. I'm saying it's not an advantage for a particular deck style.
Sure.
Unless you're talking about dredge or something really specific that isn't always a thing. They were basically saying combo is because you can find your combos. So I'm like, yeah, but I can also find my giant things to pull out. I can pull out my control or whatever it is that my deck is doing. Like,
you can find your giant things to pull.
Yeah.
That was my childlike brain.
I meant I can find, like, whenever they're trying to find a combo, I'm like, okay, well, I can find my hexproof beast, whatever.
Sure.
And you can't, and I can dig for whatever I want. You're digging for whatever. It definitely gives everyone an advantage, but not a particular person an advantage. So that's where I was like, everyone was complaining because they think it's bias. I don't think it's bias. Everybody gets more cards, and to me, I think it'll fix things like when you're completely like flooded with lands, and you just keep drawing lands. It'd be a good way if you've mulliganed once or twice to make sure you're not just having a deck of like 5 lands in your hand.
Just stick some land on the bottom.
Yeah,
good riddance.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need all that land, but that's what I've been playing.
Gathering.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we got news that the Russo Brothers are doing a Magic the Gathering animated series for Netflix.
The Avengers, just in case anybody
is
living under a rock and doesn't know who the Russo Brothers are.
Yeah, I mean, the Winter Soldier,
the Avengers Endgame,
Civil War, Avengers Endgame, like all the best Avengers movies other than like the Iron Man series, I'd say, and Ragnarok, most of the main ones. So they have been working for Marvel pretty much nonstop for the past 7 years or so,
and they said peace.
Yeah, I mean, they've not been opposed to coming back, but this was something that they had agreed to apparently a while back, and they just had to line up their schedule. More than likely, they are already working quite a bit on this, but I haven't heard a release date on it yet. It's animated, so
what's super cool about this is just that, so we complain all the time. We've talked enough about video game movies ad nauseum on how they're never that good. I mean, Detective Pikachu was probably my favorite in the last lifetime. But Netflix, in terms of its animated stuff, I mean, Castlevania, for those of you who have not checked out, extremely well done animated series. Obviously a different director and everything, but the Russo Brothers, we're talking action level directors. I'm pretty sure that they can direct something like this. It's really cool to see Netflix investing in these amazing franchises and doing animated television off it, which I think it's probably not the best for every single thing, but imagine, I mean, I've been asking for it for years. I'll take that animated Zelda show, like bring it on. Magic the Gathering is a really interesting decision, but it's something that, like I said, every nerd I know has probably picked up the game one time or another. They've learned how to do that, and there's actually a surprising amount of lore, as we were talking about off stream, to this series.
Yeah, I am sorry, I muted myself as I coughed. But yeah, there's quite a bit of lore that they could dig into. They're also have been working on an MMORPG, which I think is a dumb idea.
It's called World of Warcraft.
It's called World of Warcraft. Well, also, an MMO is so hard to do right. There's so much. It takes so much to get it done right. It takes, just so much in regards to world building, in regards to the amount of quests. Excuse me. I think it's too much of an undertaking to do that, but we'll give you news about that if they ever announce it. Continuing with movies, though, we got more news about Rambo. So, sorry, new Rambo movie coming out. Sorry, my audio keeps having an issue, but Rambo's back for the 5th Rambo movie, titled Rambo.
No, I think it has. I think it's called Last Blood.
It's Rambo Last Blood?
Yeah, so if for those of you who don't know,
right.
Rambo, there's Rambo First Blood, and then this theoretically will be the last Rambo movie. So the thing that I commented on over the weekend, I like Rambo just fine, as much as the next action movie lover. But in this trailer, like, Sylvester Stallone is talking literally the entire trailer, and that's more than sarcastically so, but that's more than he's talked in the entire series. Like,
Yeah.
I've never, and you know, he actually justified it. If you listen to his script in the trailer, where he says something like, "I've been holding all these secrets," or something like that, or "I've been holding silence." So like he's justifying the fact that he's talking so much, but still, Rambo has always just been this kind of just warrior guy who just messes everybody up, and so to hear him going on that long was a little surprising to me. But you know, cool, whatever.
Yeah, I thought this one was called Rambo because the first one's just called First Blood, and the second one's called Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Yeah.
So like there was never then they had John Rambo that came out. I guess that would have been the previous one. But yeah, either way, like I hate when things are not chronological like that. I think I used that as an example in my solo show last week. I mean, I'll watch it. I love. To me, I think the second one's the best, but that's just my opinion about it. The first one's just very different, kind of like Alien and Aliens. They're both good, but for different reasons. Yeah. We also got official news. Robert Pattinson is Batman. So there you go. If you love it or hate it, that's going to be your new Batman. The other rumors that are coming out along with this that I've been hearing is that the Batman movies are going to remain on it's a trilogy, by the way. They're not going to be a prequel because they're not going to exist within the universe of Justice League.
Good.
They're going to exist on their own. Good. Which I think is great, and then I hope that it does well. And then after it does well, that they completely shelve all of the Justice League movie stuff that we've seen, or they flashpoint it, which they can easily do with the Flash movie coming out.
It honestly doesn't matter. I mean, this is the thing about comic book movies. Like, there would be next to zero outrage if they destroyed. What do they even call it? Do they call it the DCCU?
They don't have an official name for it.
They need a name for it.
Yeah, they do.
Nobody would care. I mean, Justice League sucks. Batman versus Superman sucks. Aquaman is pretty average. Wonder Woman was decent with a terrible villain. I mean, we're talking about a string of movies that aren't any... Like, they tried to do what Marvel did, and it didn't work. And what I think that they should do is just a bunch of standalone whatever. They can make a Justice League movie. Go for it. I don't care.
Sure.
You can make a Justice League trilogy. You don't need all these other backup movies going on around it. You can go look at Iron Man 1 through Endgame.
Yeah.
DC can't do that. It's too late. That train has left the station. So let's just make some quality movies. Yeah. You can give me a good Justice League trilogy. You can give me another Wonder Woman movie. You can give me a new Batman trilogy. You can do Superman. You have still all these great characters. Just get a solid writer on just each of those movie sets, and then bring them together whenever you feel like it as its own you don't need a canon to go with everything.
Yeah, I agree. Which, I mean, we're getting that with the new Joker movie. The new Joker movie is not going to be related to Justice League or this Batman trilogy. It is completely on its own from what everyone is saying.
And based on the time, that makes sense. I mean, it takes place in the 80s, doesn't it?
It takes place in the 80s. Now, that being said, I guess they could have fed that into Justice League somehow because there's a little boy that they have said is Bruce Wayne. Yeah, it's in the trailer. But with the new Batman, they specifically said we want a young Batman. So he's in his early 30s, and I don't like the choice of Robert Pattinson. But that being said, I don't know what happened in the screen tests, and apparently he knocked it out of the park with the screen tests. So
I mean, for those I don't care. It's not, everybody knows him as Twilight, but he's actually a pretty successful indie movie actor.
That's what I've heard.
That has had some different range. And honestly, I mean, I know Christian Bale's got a couple Academy Awards and some nominations, but it's not like whenever they cast him, I was go through the roof. I mean, if you look at all the people who have played Batman, when you look at them outside of Batman, do they really seem like it? Like Michael Keaton, even as iconic as that is now,
Mr. Mom.
He doesn't he doesn't seem like Batman. He doesn't seem he seems like Bruce Wayne-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, Val Kilmer, we know, but George Clooney was awful. It's not like it's historically this great actor
Yeah.
playing these characters. So
I'll say Kilmer and Clooney were like, sorry, Clooney, Kilmer and Christian Bale were the two that when they announced it, I was like, okay, I could see that happening. And I would say that Kilmer was of the non. I mean, I guess
love Batman Forever.
I love Batman Forever. It's not as good as the Tim Burton movies and everything, but I don't think he's a bad Batman. He's not George Clooney. George Clooney was a horrible mistake. He's okay as Bruce Wayne, but he's horrible as Batman.
Yeah, I just don't. Not that I just don't. The thing that is going to perpetually make me upset about this is that they don't care about Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is my favorite DC character. Top 2 comic book character. And they never, like, ever since Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, they just don't care about him in terms of live action. We thought we might be getting something when Joseph Gordon-Levitt kind of, found the Batcave. That was just something that Christopher Nolan threw in there as like a little, and they're never going to do anything with that ever. And if you're going to get a young Robert Pattinson, what are you going to get? Like, it's not going to be like a 12-year-old Dick Grayson. Are you going to, are you going to do a Jason Todd ever, or are you going to do Damien or something? Like, I don't. Probably not Damien.
You can't do Damien. Yeah, he's way too young. He's way too young. You'd have to do Tim Drake or something. You could do Robin, but it would seem weird because he's so, he's a guy who's in his like early 30s that's like, yeah, I'll adopt a 14-year-old boy. What?
Yeah.
Like that would be, I mean, I just think it would seem weirder than, this person who's in their 40s or so.
So that's the only thing that bums me out about it. Is just I'll fight.
Yeah.
More than Robin, I want Nightwing. Like,
yeah.
Nightwing is my dog.
Yeah.
I love Nightwing. He's awesome. And so they just go back to Batman, and this is what DC does. Goes back to that old Batman. Well, like, oh, sorry guys, we're having some critical flops. Let's just do some Batman, sprinkle in a little Batman mojo, get us some film dollars back. Who cares about Robin?
Yeah, who cares? But to me, I care. We also got some news, by the way. I'm going to skip the next one, by the way, and put it over towards E3.
Okay.
But we have Xbox and PlayStation compatibility on iOS and Apple TV, which I think is great when it comes to the boxless, if you want to call it that, like without having a traditional console. This is great integration for a platform you probably know more about than I do.
Yeah, so they announced this at WWDC, which is the Apple's developer conference thing. They just literally added potentially around 130 million users. Like, not necessarily, I mean, these are people that already own these devices anyway, but I'm saying adding Xbox and PlayStation controller support, that there's a market out there for Bluetooth controllers that hook up to mobile devices. They just destroyed that market. I even mentioned it when Sony announced PS4 Remote Play, and that app is now available on iOS. That I wanted to go get a Nimbus, which is a controller that exists for mobile devices. But now that I can do in the near future, I can hook a PlayStation controller up. I don't need a Nimbus anymore. So we're talking about PS4 Remote Play. Easy. That's a big thing. If you're on Android, we're talking about iOS specifically.
iOS. Yeah.
So it opens up a whole new string of games where if game devs are adding controller support to their apps, like you just made mobile gaming a lot more enticing. Imagine all those games, like all the Final Fantasy games that have been released up to this point. Imagine adding controller support to those. With something that 130 million people worldwide already have access to. They don't have to spend any more money. It's just literally built into the software. This is huge. It's crazy. This is probably like I watched the whole conference for obvious reasons, wink wink, but it was the coolest thing that I heard about. My favorite thing of the whole conference was just them adding both of those controllers is a very, very big deal. It is trying to legitimize mobile gaming, the fact that they're adding it to the Apple TV, something that tons of families already own. open up. There's a lot of possibilities that come with adding this kind of controller level, or this level of controller support.
Yeah. Additionally, people, you have a built-in market already, and then when people are looking at getting Apple TV or getting something to that effect, knowing that it can also play these games off of the Apple TV is a huge. To me, it's a huge thing to leverage from a business standpoint, and we're getting more towards that world where we're not going to be locked into the old school idea of consoles. And I didn't think about the remote play. So now you can remote play off of other stuff, but you can remote play off through Apple TV, like your PlayStation.
No, but remote play is on iOS and iPads. Or
yes.
So I have the app right now on my iPad. If you don't have a controller, there's a digital controller on the screen. That's
okay, yeah.
But previously that app did support things like the Nimbus controller, which is a MiFi controller that for mobile. But now I just get my PlayStation 4 controller. I don't need to, if I want to go on vacation or something, I know that I'm going to be in a decent Wi-Fi, because that's obviously what you need. There's that opportunity to bring those games on the road very easily. Or just even in my own house, like my wife's watching TV. I got my iPad right here. Just took my PlayStation controller up to my iPad. It's a good time. But if they start adding controller support to other games, that's huge. What is the number one complaint for people who don't like mobile games? I don't like touchscreens.
Yeah, I want a controller. And you don't have to buy a proprietary controller. You already have an Xbox, great. You already have a PlayStation, great. You have the hardware.
30 million.
It's fantastic. It's a great to me it's great stuff.
Big deal.
Yeah, very big deal. Also a big deal to me and you, at least. Cadence of Hyrule getting a release date. Looking June release date. That's crazy, because that's the month we're in. I'm
betting we get an available now.
Available now? Yeah, I could totally see that for E3. Because this thing's going to be digital anyways. Yeah. And because all eyes are going to be on Nintendo or on all the developers, and available now would be perfect. I could totally see that.
Those of you who don't know, we talked about this a few weeks ago from when it came out. This is the people who made Crypt of the Necrodancer, and they teamed up with Nintendo and got the Zelda IP, which is very rarely let out for other companies to use. Most Nintendo IP, just like other Nintendo IPs. Really cool concept of the game to mix Zelda music in with that. Zelda being a playable character. Can't wait. I just threw it in there just because the fact that it's going to be released this month is super fun. I was for sure thinking it was a fall game, so
I thought it was too. I could see this easily as available now, like I said, because this is a digital only, or more than likely to be digital only. I could totally see that available now. Not the first game to play that you get to play as Zelda though, because Smash would have been the first. Well, I was thinking she wasn't playable on the CDI games, right?
No, I actually think she might have been.
I have a feeling that she was, but I'll have to double check that. I really want to play those, but I don't want to shell out the money, so I need to find some way to emulate them.
I've seen a speedrun of it at GDQ, which is coming up in a couple weeks. I thought I was wearing my GDQ shirt. I changed my mind. There's a good speedrun of it available if you ever just feel like seeing it played through. But obviously they're not going through the story much or anything like that. They look strange.
It's
they're interesting
terrible,
games.
cheap animation. I've seen some clips.
They added voice to it, I think.
Yeah, there's voice on it because this is Laserdisc. This is on the Philips CDI Laserdisc. So those things were capable of doing really good audio and video.
They should do Star Wars, man.
Yeah, dude, that was my dad has that version.
Still?
He still has it. He still has. He has that. He has a handful of other kind of what I would consider random movies, but they're all movies that I like Pulp Fiction. What else? Cliffhanger, kind of random, but
that new Tarantino movie looks dope.
The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Pitt? Yeah, it looks so good.
Fantastic. It's going to be interesting, and I will say that there's always talk about the misogynist kind of side of Tarantino, but if he's doing something in the 60s and 70s kind of works.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's justified.
He definitely has it. I'm not justifying it at all, but it's still one of those things where I don't like all of his movies, but
Sure.
I like Pulp Fiction. I like
Reservoir Dogs.
No, what was the one that Leo did before?
Django.
Django's
Yeah.
great. Man, now I'm blanking on some.
Jackie Brown.
Movies. Oh, Kill Bill. The Kill Bill.
Kill Bill. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, but
dude,
what?
E3.
E3. Yeah, that's what I was about to segue into, because that's the first bit of E3. What I would consider like a little prediction for E3. We have a handful of predictions, just kind of a wish list, if you will, of aw snap moments.
Yeah.
So starting out though, we got a little bit of news. Actually, no, we'll just go sequentially.
I think that we should just go. I was thinking conference by conference.
Yeah, let's go conference by conference. Starting out, we're getting the EA. It's going to be on Saturday, which is weird. But let's be honest, there's only one thing we really care about when it comes to the EA conference.
Star Wars,
That's
baby!
Star Wars. Like that's all that we care about. They're going to have at least half of it's going to be about sports and or other annual games, which is fine.
FIFAs, you got your men's. I wonder if they're going to address loot boxes at all.
I don't know.
Because that's a big thing going on right now with FIFA, especially with a lot of countries like Belgium cracking down. Are they ever going to think about changing the model? There's a law going on in potentially the U.S., but who cares? Because Star Wars.
Just Star Wars, and I don't care because Star Wars is not going to have any of that. It's going to be a great single-player campaign, and I'm crazy excited about it. Excited about the Star Wars land, by the way, and Disney. You and I have been chatting about, which we'll talk about later because I could totally go on some tangents right now. Yeah, from EA, I think that's about it for me. That's all that I really care about.
Yeah, the only other stuff that I like to throw out about EA, like as much crap as EA gets, and as easy as it is to give them, it's not like they don't shoot themselves in the foot all the time. They generally do have some good indie dev support. The last couple of years, they supported Unravel. There was. There's another one that I'm totally blanking on right now that I was looking forward to that got shown last year. So there's always a couple little gems in there for indie devs that are always fun to check out. But mainly just Star Wars.
Mainly Star Wars. Yeah.
Give it to me.
Just when in doubt, Star Wars. It's gonna make you money. Make a good Star Wars game, and they're doing it. It looks like.
Well, even more so after playing Titanfall 2, which same developer Respawn, who made Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends, is making this Star Wars game. After playing Titanfall 2, that excites me even more because it shows me that they can put together a narrative that is combined with excellent gameplay. So
yeah, it's good stuff. I'm excited. Moving on to Microsoft, and as we talk about Microsoft, I think it's fitting we talk about Phil Spencer's tweet. Woo! Just finishing our final E3 rehearsal here with the team in Redmond. Feel really good about briefing. Lots to show. We have 14 Xbox Game Studio games. 14 in the show this year. More first-party games we've ever had. Fun times. Xbox rocking on. Yeah, 14. That's insane.
Go!
That's insane. Owen and I have been talking about this for quite a while. The acquisitions that sorry, I almost said Nintendo. The acquisition that would be insane. The acquisitions that Microsoft has been going through from Xbox buying up studios. That's all we heard. Like probably June onward was they bought this studio. We bought this studio. The E3. They were like, hey, these other 5 studios are part of us. They're playing the long game and. Wow, it's gonna be a huge conference. That's the biggest thing I've ever heard.
We've said it, like Patrick's already mentioned, we've said it for months. Ever since Sony dropped out of this, me and him have been talking about how, like, this is your chance right here, Microsoft. This is your chance to blow the doors off the place.
Sony's not there.
Take it. I want that. There's a couple things that I already jotted down, but like I'm thinking, like pull out some franchise. I want to see Halo. I want to see Gears. Man, why am I blanking on the action RPG that we haven't seen in forever? What's the action? Do you know the RPG I'm talking about? As a kid, there's
Fable.
Fable. Yeah. I want to see Fable, man. I want to see I want to see it. But we know we're gonna get some Gears 5. I expect to see some Halo. I'm super excited about both of those franchises. There's rumors that George R. R. Martin was helping From Software out with a Game of Thrones game.
That'd be intense.
And then I didn't put this down as one of my like super predictions, but it's something that we mentioned before. After Microsoft started working with Nintendo, I'm thinking we see a Switch on the stage.
That would be insane. They've been talking, or they have talked about the Xbox Live. What was it? The Xbox. What was it? Not Games with Gold, but they've been talking about integration between those two platforms for a while, and I wouldn't think it'd be out of the ordinary to be able to see them tout the Xbox services that are now part of Switch. I would love to see Nintendo pair up with Microsoft, similar to what Sony's doing, in regards to a multiplayer infrastructure for Nintendo's network online. I think it'd be great. I mean, yeah, they'd all be hosted kind of under one umbrella on the back end, but I mean, Xbox is really great at infrastructure. Their Azure servers are fantastic. The data centers they're using, have them all the same. That's fine.
I mean, we can tell from Microsoft's acquisition that no matter what happens in terms of hard console space, they're not going anywhere. They're announcing 14 games from first party material. That's ridiculous. I think they own something like 11 or 12 studios now. They're not going anywhere software wise, but things can change hardware wise. If they could help out Nintendo, even with just voice chat, just get us get Xbox. Like the fact that you have to have an app on your phone to get into voice chat is not cool. I know I know multiplayer. That's not Nintendo's focus in terms of having that kind of community. But long game, and they already. Man, I thought I had something for Microsoft that they had already done.
They already did some type of integration with Nintendo and Microsoft. I think it was Xbox. Wasn't Xbox Live?
Well, obviously we got Cuphead, and that was originally an Xbox exclusive game that's now on Switch. They were working with something that we've speculated and we've talked about so many things. There's stuff missing in my brain. I expect to be blown away. I don't normally like placing high expectations on conferences because I don't want to be let down. But if Microsoft doesn't do this, if Microsoft does not take advantage of the fact that that's it, you found it. If Microsoft does not take advantage of the fact that Sony's not there and just kill it, they are letting themselves down in terms of potential new customers. I mean, not that the attach rate or anything with the Xbox is anything to sneeze at, but like they only got to 40 million. What are they gonna Are they gonna show the next gen? Are we gonna Sony already showed a little bit of their hand with talking about the SSD and the load times and everything. Do we see a little bit of that? Do they put an announcement on it? And you found the thing I was talking about.
I did. Sorry, I was just looking for the source picture for it, and I found it and saved. Done and done. Xbox Game Pass coming to PC.
That's on the fly editing, folks.
Right there. So this is huge because Xbox Game Pass, in regards to a subscription service, having access to all of these games, so many friggin' Xbox games, and access to Xbox games like when they launch.
Yeah.
So if you have Game Pass and it's a first-party game, you get it at launch. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to pay $60. To me, that's a great way to be like, I don't know if I'm going to like this new Halo. I don't know if I'm going to like the new whatever. Jump in, play it. If you like it, cool, you can buy it because it's like Netflix. They can take stuff off. They can add stuff. But that's an amazing program, and to bring that over to a PC, I think is great. We don't have. I can't think of any service that. I guess Humble Bundle. Amazon has Amazon has those free Steam games, right?
EA Play.
EA Play, that's right. Okay, EA Play.
And we're thinking we haven't got to that conference yet, but there's a chance that maybe Ubisoft started. Ubisoft has quite a library that they could do it with too. That I could totally see that happening. So I want to throw a number at you. If you were to take a guess at just the amount of PC gamers out there, what kind of number would you think?
PC gamers. Okay, so this, to me, that's an interesting demographic because I wouldn't say they're necessarily more hardcore, but I think a lot of people have access to PCs.
Absolutely right.
Based on work or based on whatever. I mean, I'm going to say... Oh, we're talking about US, right?
I have worldwide.
Okay. Worldwide
number.
Okay. I was going to guess 45 in the US. We're talking 100? What's our more than 100? Well, yeah, now I'm thinking about it. I'm going to guess 350.
We're talking estimated.
Yeah.
1 billion people play games on PC worldwide.
One out of 7.
Yeah.
1 out of 7, and that's counting in countries that do not have like electricity and internet easily. That's amazing.
So the only reason I bring this up is because we already have things like Steam.
Yeah.
EA plays a thing. We're just talking about like these Microsoft games already existed, but we're talking about it in a Netflix style format where you're paying a monthly or a yearly fee, tapping into a potential user base of 1 billion people, 1/7 of the world. Yeah. I mean, we talk about how cool PlayStation 4 numbers are all the time at 100 million units almost. We talk about Xbox, is 40 million, Switch is 20 million. So multiply that by 10, and you have just all of PC gamers. I'm not saying they're going to capture all of those people. It's just the possibility that you could ever get anywhere. Like if you could just take a little fraction of that to pay for your Game Pass on PC to get a lot of great games. It's a great deal.
Now that I'm thinking about it, the all like India, China, all of like Asia are huge PC gamers, and maybe mobile. Like they're into mobile in regards to in Japan and everything, but all of them are PC gamers. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. That'd be amazing to have that pass, and just a small chunk of that for $10 a month. It's 15. I can't remember. I think it's 15.
I say all this. I don't know what Xbox Live's Game Pass rules are internationally speaking.
Sure.
But it's still. I would have to really look into it to see what it's available now, Xbox wise. But just if it's anywhere along those lines, if you could get the amount of people that are like, hey, we have 11 game studios here that are going to be pumping out games. We already got about 100 games on here. You want to play these and you don't want to pay for them? Here you go. We'll allow you to download them. Do whatever you want. It's all good. It's a great move on their part. I know that Sony had done this before, but they, like we've already mentioned, they do not have as good of a infrastructure as Microsoft does.
Yep. So yeah, this is huge news for Xbox and for PC gaming. I was going to talk about that when it comes to PC gaming, but we can talk about other stuff during that. So that is
anything else Microsoft wise.
Other than that, I think I'm good. This is honestly the conference that I'm most excited about.
Yeah,
not because I'm an Xbox fan, but there's going to be so much new stuff going on.
This is Sunday afternoon.
That's Sunday afternoon.
4 Eastern for Microsoft.
And going into Sunday night, we're going to have Bethesda.
Yeah.
And
did you see what Todd Howard said the other day?
No, I didn't.
So they got Todd Howard talking, as he does, because Todd Howard always talks. Todd Howard is a lead designer at Bethesda, for those who don't know. And he was talking about Fallout 76. And he didn't apologize or anything. What he said was that we expected these problems at launch. So that annoyed me. He went on to say, hey, we've implemented a lot. We've made some changes. And according to reports, Fallout 76 is a lot better now, almost a year later, in terms of playability. But he said, we expected these problems. We we didn't think it was going to score high on Metacritic. Just weird stuff to say out loud that you went out and you put an initial price tag, which the price quickly dropped. You put an initial price tag of $60 on something that you knew in your brain sucked at launch. You willingly were going to charge people for something that was not good instead of doing an extended beta, maybe making a cheaper beta, making a $30 game or something like that. You knew that this game was broken. You launched it anyway, and you're okay with that.
Yeah. Bad form. Completely bad form.
Peter.
Yeah. The way that things you could be talking about there is, this is ambitious. It's not something we've done before. There's all kinds of ways to spin that from a marketing standpoint. You could be like, try to please your core fan base. We were off base on some things. We're definitely wanting to work on that. There's all kinds of things you could talk about. You could say that would spin it in a better light. I will say that I'm looking forward to stuff in regards to Doom.
Yeah.
In regards to Rage 2, things that people don't usually talk about when they talk about Bethesda. I'm excited about that. I think that they've
about Doom.
Yeah, we can talk about Doom and Wolfenstein, which I absolutely love Wolfenstein. We get to see those, so I'm excited about that. I will say, as one of my predictions of the things that I really want to have happen, is I want Todd Howard to make fun of how bad or how poorly received Fallout 76 was, because they like to poke fun at themselves about like bugs in games and stuff. So I'd like to see that, because I think that it could happen. Also, I'd like to see some footage of Elder Scrolls 6.
Okay.
I think it could be done. Those are my moments that I'd wait for.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Doom Eternal is going to be a big show. That's probably the game that their biggest game that's coming out soon.
Yes.
They've already announced, and we've already seen the gameplay. Or not the gameplay trailer, the story trailer for Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is, I think it's either $20 or $30. I think it's $30 if you wanted to get your friend pass on, which is awesome. I need Starfield, man. It's either this, either you show me some Starfield, or you don't mention it at all. If you even bring up Starfield and you do not show us anything on Starfield, I'll be upset. They did that last year. It was really annoying when we talked about it before. Was that they showed a little screen of it saying Elder Scrolls 6. They showed a little screen of something saying Starfield, just to let us know that they were working on it. I'm tired of that kind of stuff. I really hate it now, where it's just like when Nintendo did it with Pokemon on Switch. They showed it a year ago, just be like, hey, we're working on it.
Sword and Shield.
Here's a slide that's a ball.
Yeah.
Please look forward to it. Either show me something or don't mention it all. But I want to see some Starfield.
I will agree.
Give me some Bethesda sci-fi.
I agreed, and I will say that they did say Starfield will come out before Elder Scrolls, so probably gonna. I think you'll get to see it. Yep, I think you get to see it, because I think my problem with Starfield was we knew they were working on something. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to picture ourselves a year ago now.
Yeah.
I think they hadn't officially announced Starfield, but we knew they were working on something sci-fi. And to me, that's when you should show a little bit more. When it came to Elder Scrolls, up until E3, they were saying, we are not working on Elder Scrolls. We have no plans for the new Elder Scrolls. And they were lying, because they were waiting to tell us that, which is fine. I get that. But Starfield, we knew you were working on something like that. We need more than just a name. And that's all we got last year. We got more footage of Elder Scrolls, if it was actually footage or whatever. But we got more of that than Starfield. So I agree. I'd love some Starfield in there.
Bethesda is one of those conferences that I love to get, or not conferences. It's one of those companies I really love to get annoyed with. They've been using outdated engine forever in terms of just like how their games looks. They historically have buggy launches and everything, but that said, they still make very good narratives inside of very good gameplay systems that are also improved by the outside world in terms of mods. But so I still always look forward to this conference because you never know what exactly is going to happen. They've been a little the past 6 months or so. I'm ready for like Todd Howard to stop talking at different points, but it should still be a fun Sunday evening. I really hope we get some start.
I really hope we do too. I'm gonna. That's Sunday at 8:30 Eastern, by the way. 9:30. 7:30 Central.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lump the next two together for a couple different reasons. One, because it's not as much of an interest to us personally.
Some people don't even mention Devolver, dude.
A lot of people don't. Also, a lot of people forget there's a PC gaming show as well going on. So I'm going to lump these two together because these are both a great place for indies to show off, or for smaller studios that don't want to pay. Because if you didn't know, if a studio that is not Xbox appears, or at Xbox or Ubisoft, if you see one of those studios pop up during those conferences, those studios usually pay for that spot. It's like buying it. Yeah. So in this case, PC gaming and Devolver are going to be a lot. Devolver's not going to really be able to do as much, but you're going to see a lot more indie stuff in these. If that's your thing, Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern for Devolver, and then Monday afternoon at 1 p.m., which is just a weird time to do it.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
So the PC one, I'll get to in a second. Devolver has quickly become one of my favorite publishers of the last year. They are freaking killing it. They work with so many cool indie studios. Most recently, Katana Zero came out, which I just picked up on Switch. They do crazy weird things like Gato Roboto, Enter the Gungeon.
How is Katana Zero? Have you played it yet?
I have not. Finished Titanfall 2. I'm hoping to play some Katana Zero this weekend. Enter the Gungeon is one of their big ones. They look them up if you have no idea who we're talking about. They might, and you like indie games, they might have made something that you've done. I have no idea what to expect from their conferences. They're always weird. Whenever you watch it on Sunday night, just know they're weird. They do some weird theatrics to go along, because it really reminds me, and I don't know if you've put this together, of the early 80s and 90s, right? Where you would look at the like game box art and you would play the game, and that was supposed to be kind of like the game. You're supposed to use your imagination, right? Well, they use theatrics because they're working with all these indie studios where these games are not generally highly graphical. Like they're still good, they're still tight, but they use these theatrics to really bump up the fact that you're going to be playing like 16:32 like smaller bit games. So it's a really weird conference. No idea what to expect whatsoever, but I now always look forward to it because they're killing it. That they have not made a game that I have played that I have not liked in the last year and a half or so. So
yeah, no, I agree. Devolver is one of the most interesting conferences to watch and most entertaining conferences to watch. So it'll be interesting. I think it'll be good. With
PC gaming, I had a joke in there that with the Epic's Game Store, just that it would be funny if they had like sponsorships in the PC gaming show, just with all the money that they've been throwing at things recently and they've been ticking off the community. It would just be totally hilarious if it was like, this is the PC gaming show, sponsored
brought to you by the Epic Store.
Like, how awesome would that be?
That would be so horrible.
I think it'd be the greatest PR move ever. Like everybody would be talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the place to be, because PC gamers, that's what the Steam community comes out for, the PC gaming show. I mean, I will say a lot of the show, they do talk about hardware as well, which I do appreciate, because someone needs to spotlight that when you have an industry going on, because the Electronics Entertainment Electronics Expo, whatever, E3, when you have that going on, you need to talk about hardware other than we have a new box that has magic in it, which is what the consoles tend to be. We're talking about stats more than we have before. Yeah. But it's like you choose your flavor, or let's really get into the difference between these processors and stuff. So I think that's cool.
I still like to check it out, but yeah, I totally blanked on the fact. You're absolutely right as far as hardware goes. Like, try and make it through those points to see the indie stuff, because you're going to see Logitech, you're going to see like Razer, you're going to like, they're going to be there, and there's going to be some stuff on that, and it's going to be extremely boring, but muscle through.
Yep. Next up, we got Ubisoft. Talk Monday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern. So I have in your notes in here, no Skull and Bones, no Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I'm wondering, I'm probably not Skull and Bones, but it started off with a little bit of juicy leaking a couple of days ago. Watch Dogs leaked. Confirmed by the great Jason Schreier over at Kotaku, investigative reporter for those who don't know. So this one's going to be called Watch Dogs Legion. What'd you think of reading up on the details on this?
I didn't get to read a lot of the details, I'll be honest. So if you want to... I'll skim it while you talk.
Yeah, no problem. Confirmed in London, just like everybody had already thought it was going to be. Previous ones, Chicago and Seattle. I could be wrong about the Seattle one. I know, pretty sure Chicago was one of them. This one's going to be in London. Cool, potentially game-breaking, potentially who knows what it's going to be like. But theoretically...
Yep.
You can play as any NPC you encounter. There's obviously no details of this. This is just a leaked information, but any and all NPCs in the game have their own voice actor, apparently, potential storyline. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you like hacking people. I don't know if you're just like, I just want to play as you. We have zero idea how this is, but what do you think of the idea of just you could walk up to anybody and play as them through a part of the story?
So this takes what Red Dead 2 recently did to another level. NPCs, other than saying a specific thing, like in RPGs, walking up to an NPC that always says the same thing, or in Grand Theft Auto, if you played like Grand Theft Auto 3 or Vice City and you bump into somebody and they always say like one of like 12 lines.
Walk in here.
Yeah, walk in here. My mother's my sister or something. And I love it, but at the same time, you keep hearing it over and over. Or the stereotypical Skyrim, lines coming out. I would like to be an adventurer that I took an arrow to the knee. Every single guard sounds the same. So taking it, what Red Dead Redemption had, every single NPC was a specific character and was specifically voiced either by a different person or doing a different voice. So no one was a canned NPC per se. Taking that to a different level and being able to play as them, I'm just thinking of the amount of background and structure and being able to organize something like that. Thinking of the Skyrim and I think not Skyrim, but
Witcher.
The Witcher, not Oblivion, Morrowind. Morrowind was one of the first games that came out that they were like, every NPC has a schedule. They all have a personality. Some of them are passive, some of them are not. And that was mind-blowing, but being able to play them is a completely different animal. Like, do they all have their own houses? I'm assuming like they all have strengths and weaknesses of some type. Not everyone's going to be, amazingly athletic or a hacker. It's got to have something to do with some type of implants, is what I'm going to guess. Like, you can hack into some implants that the majority of like society has at this point. That's what I'm thinking.
And you bring up the exact thing that I wonder about. So this is something that was similarly mentioned for CD Projekt Red's game, which who knows where they show up. I'm assuming they show up at the Microsoft conference, if they're going to show up anywhere.
I think so.
With, what's the name of the game?
Cyberpunk.
There we go, Cyberpunk. They mentioned everybody in Cyberpunk is there. Like, every NPC, you don't get to play as them, but they're all there. They all do things. Theoretically, you could follow around these NPCs, and they have just like you mentioned with a schedule and everything, they have a function.
Yes.
It's this massive world. So that's similar, but in this case, you get to take control I didn't even think about implants. You're probably absolutely right with the way that Watch Dogs is and the way that hacking is traditionally done. It probably has to do something like that. There's also potential like, how much does this affect the story? Like, does it change if I'm a man or a woman? If I'm young or old? Like, I would wonder how many different endings or story sections or whatever. Like, how does that all work? Really interesting. I'm really excited to see it. I'm really a little sad that it leaked, because I'm interested. What leaked got me interested. I already love Ubisoft. For those of you who don't watch all the conferences like I do, and like Patrick does, Ubisoft always has fun. They normally get a fun host. It's not boring. They don't really do a lot of lulls. They're very off the cuff in their script. So I'm always in for Ubisoft anyway. But this got me interested in a franchise that I typically did not have interest in. So maybe that was the point. So, like, you started with No Skull and Bones. So that game was already supposed to be out, I think, and it's been delayed to who knows when. So those of you who don't know what Skull and Bones is, that was the Assassin's Creed boat-style fighting game. It looked a lot like AC4, but it was going to be all pirates. Basically, like not good graphics, because Sea of Thieves have good graphics. What I mean, realistic graphics.
Yes.
Sea of Thieves style. And then there's no Assassin's Creed game launching this year. So do they talk about next year's AC? Like, get a little teaser? But they've said that AC is taking a break after Origins this year. So
yeah, I think they're taking. I mean, yes, they said they're taking a break. It would be interesting. It'd feel weird if they don't mention it. I feel like we're going to get some mention, maybe some. I mean, we've done quite a few remasters, so we're probably not going to get something like that. Maybe a pack of some of the more recent games as a bundle could be announced, but something to keep it top of mind, because they want to remind people that it is a thing, even if they're not going to come out with it. I'd love to hear, like, just to hear the setting, and then be like, we'll tell you about it more next year, tell you about it more at a later date, and then they could announce something else, more towards November, where they start showing. You don't have to be at E3 to do this kind of stuff. So that's what I'd like to see when it comes to.
I just thought it would be awesome if we got another Mario Rabbids. If we got Mario Rabbids 2 on Switch, I'd be down with that.
Yeah.
That, for those of you, that was an Ubisoft game. Great.
Forgot about that.
Great. Strategy RP. Is that the word I'm looking for? Strategy RPG?
Strategy, yeah.
Tactical. There we go. Tactical RPG. Very basic, very fun that they put out a DLC for. That'd be cool if they had a 2-1. And then the long-awaited, twice cinematically shown Beyond Good and Evil. Ooh.
We got to get something more on this.
There needs to be some gameplay.
Yes. Really needs to be some gameplay. Show me how good the game is. We know how cool the world is. I love the art style. I love the characters. I'm all on board with that. Now I'm like, all right, now show me how I'm going to experience it. Like, show me the gameplay, show me some of the mechanics. What are we going to do? Because we have quite a leap from Beyond Good and Evil to Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Almost over 15 years?
Yeah. So we got a big leap for that. I want to see what the gameplay is. I want to see what we're going to be able to do in this world specifically. It's going to be really cool, though.
I really hope they show that off. I was trying to think of anything else that comes. It's funny now that the Wii shop has closed, so that they can't put out Just Dance 2020 on the Wii. That's a little sad. I wonder if they still make one for the Wii U or not. I can't remember if they shut down the Wii store. I don't think they have yet. So I bet there's a Just Dance coming out on Wii U. Trying to think of anything else fun. Ubisoft is a giant company. It'd be cool to see some new IPs in there. I was trying to think of anything like big that would. I hope Far Cry takes a little time off.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't need another Far Cry game.
Yep. Yep, I loved the latest Far Cry. I've not played New Dawn, but I loved Far Cry 5. I want to play New Dawn, but yeah, we can take some time off the franchise for a bit. We don't want to oversaturate that and make it an Assassin's Creed where we have something come out every single year. We don't need something like that.
Which means we're probably going to get it.
Yeah, probably. Moving on, though, onto Square Enix's conference. So we're now in Monday evening. So Square Enix, there's two things that I want to hear about when it comes to Square, which is Final Fantasy VII and Marvel Avengers.
Get hyped!
That's really what I want to talk about. Marvel Avengers getting more, and so we did get some news on this, by the way.
Yeah.
So they talked about the importance of the campaign and story, talking about it being the definitive Avengers experience, but they also mentioned assembling teams up to 4 players, which is great because the Avengers is a team. I want to play with my team.
Wait, the Avengers is a team?
It is a team. So, of course, you need to have some multiplayer involved in this. I think it's interesting as well, very similar to Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, which we're getting next month, by the way, on the Switch. So being able to play that on my Switch is going to be great. I know that Marvel's Avengers isn't going to be on Switch, but similarly, Ultimate Alliance allowed you to take these teams and mash up these different characters together who may or may not have ever existed on teams before. So it's kind of a cool way to do it. To me, being able to do that with the Avengers is really cool because you can bring in characters if you want to be, all of, I would consider like the lowest powered Avengers. Like you do a playthrough of just like Hawkeye and Black Widow, or you could just have your core, the Hulk and Iron Man and everything. There's so many different ways you can blend it, as well as powers. You could have let's just do all mystical stuff with Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. I mean, there's so many possibilities in that if we're able to do that. Continuous single player or cooperative gameplay.
That's the thing that I don't get. Do you get that? Do you understand the word continuous single player?
Okay, so what I think they mean with this is similar to what Borderlands did, the Borderlands series, where if I'm playing single player and I'm playing and I'm loving it and doing stuff, and you come along and you're like, hey dude, let's play, you come into my game, like it doesn't stop my game, you come in and you all of a sudden, boom, Iron Man flies in and we start playing. Borderlands did that with couch co-op. If that's what they're doing, server-wise, it'd be really hard to do that. You'd have to always have an online connection. I guess you'd have to start the game in online mode.
Is gonna be.
Yeah. So to be able to do that, if that's what they're talking about, which I'm assuming it is, that's going to be amazing to continue. Like I said, it's this combined cinematic storytelling with continuous single-player and cooperative gameplay. That's going to be great to be able to drop in, drop out. And not disturb whoever you're playing with. So I started playing. I forgot to mention this early on in the show, but I started playing GTA Online on PC with some friends, and I was playing, and then my buddy calls me up on Skype, and I log into his game. So it took me out of what I was doing, and it took, I think it was like 12 or 13 minutes to get out of the game, queue up, get ready, and then go into another game. That's
because GTA is huge.
GTA is huge, and it was also waiting to queue players together. So thankfully we were on Skype talking. But that's what is going on with, by the way, with Anthem when they're talking about when they're queuing with Anthem, because you're having to go into an instance of a world, and it's trying to bring you into one that's full enough. But being able to play this, if we can play it drop in, drop out, cinematic style. That'd be great, especially if it's online. If you and I have it, and you're like, "Hey, dude, can I drop in and we continue our story?"
There'll probably be like a switch on there. It'll probably be like a thing where you can turn off or turn on, like if you're allowing, like allow friends to join you, allow anyone to join you.
Yeah.
I bet those kind of switches. The interesting thing about this is that they say cinematic experience. So to me, whenever I'm thinking about cinematic video gaming, I'm thinking Uncharted. So is it going to be that linear? Is it going to be a thing where you're playing through stories or episodes? Who knows how? I had a completely crazy thought in my mind of like thinking about playing through like comic arcs. Like there's playing through a comic arc, not episodically speaking, but like playing through like that kind of thing where you're picturing the panels in your brain while you're playing through it, and having somebody drop in and drop out of that would be pretty interesting. But I wonder, is there any open worldness to it? How linear are we talking? Like if there's gonna be online co-op with a cinematic experience, that is interesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been done. I mean, you can do that with Gears. You can do that with Halo. Super pumped that the real original name, Marvel's Avengers, but I'm sure Marvel was like, nope, that's what you get to call it.
I like it. It's definitive. I mean, and with a name like that, you better bring it. I mean, it has to be amazing. So I can't wait to get more news on this.
Like Crystal Dynamics, and they're typically pretty awesome. Crystal Dynamics does Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah.
So if that's who does it, I mean, Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raiders have amazing gameplay.
They were great.
Stick some superpowers in that, and I can probably. There's nothing that is. There's very. Other than release dates, because it's Square Enix, there's very few things that they could do to upset me about this potential game. Like, unless they just royally screwed up gameplay somehow or made the powers like super boring, I don't expect that to happen.
Or made all the characters the same size. Like the Thing is the same size as Reed Richards. Like, just different skins. Like, let's not do that. I will say this is my one of my other predictions, or I guess wish list, whatever you want to call it.
Spoiling.
This is my wish list. My wish list is obviously some awesome stuff when it comes to Marvel, but I would love for them to say Final Fantasy VII's remaster, episode 1, because it is episodic, right? Episode 1 is available December this year.
So I'm gonna trump you on that, because my number one. I'll go ahead and mention my other one here because this is also Square Enix. But my number one, holy crap, this would be amazing. Episode 1 available today. That would be insane. As of the conference, so June 10th or tomorrow. I don't care, but I want today. I want episode 1. Final Fantasy VII available now. That would make that would make my year. I'd be like, sorry, Patrick, can't talk about this conference. I'll see you later. Like, sorry, kid, don't be born on your due date. I'm gonna take a couple days. I'm gonna play through this episode.
Okay, Square. Let me tell you something, Square. You could tell us, hey, episode 1 launches right now. You could charge $20 for that first episode. Hear me out. $20 for episode 1. All it is the very opening, the first battle, getting into the slums, and it ends right there. And people would be like, "I love it."
Don't do that. Let me get out.
You want to get to the end of Midgar. Yeah, that's episode 1. That's actually what episode 1 should be. I'm just joking, like, because they could.
Don't jinx it now. What is that from Talladega Nights? Don't put that evil on me, Rick.
Basically, I mean, I'm just saying, if they did that, you would still have people like, I love it so much. I played it 3 times. I would still buy it. I would still love it. But yeah, episode 1 is gonna have to be from the opening crawl, if you will, the opening cinematic, the train, the battles, getting out of the slums. I really hope that we get to see Don Corleo and all that, just like it was. I don't think that
save cross-dressing Cloud. I want to experience that for myself. Don't put that in the trailer.
I think you can do that. You don't have to play it. you can play it as a I'm awkward. You don't have to play it as like homophobic or making fun of anything. It's weird because
homophobic about it.
No, I'm just saying, like, in this culture, like in this society, you can put something out there and be like, look, they're making fun of drag queens or something. It's like, well, it's not making fun of that. It's like, we need to sneak in, dress up as a girl, and he's like, what? That's funny.
I mean, it was funny in the original. The scripting was perfect. He's like, what?
It was perfect.
I mean, it was just kind of this weird thing of like, he was just doing what Ares told him to do.
Yeah, he's never uncomfortable. He's surprised, and then like, she's just way too into it, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, no,
like getting in the wig.
You could keep the script word for word, and it would be just fine as is. I really want them to. I really want them to say it's available now. If it's not, it needs to be in the next few months. I don't want December. Like, this needs to make somebody's fall right here. Mm-hmm. I'll go ahead and put my other thing, since it's part of this conference. I want Final Fantasy VIII. I don't want remaster. I don't care. I want you to release Final Fantasy VIII. I know the story. I've explained the story to people on this show before of what happened to Final Fantasy VIII. The files are gone.
Tragic. Yep.
Figure it out. I don't care. Give me the game that just complete my bring my childhood back completely.
Mm-hmm.
You give me 7. You put 9 on there, which is anime. I know the deal with 8, but just do it. Like, just do the good faith. Put together. Get it on Switch, get it on PS4, I'll buy it on both. If they did that, it would mean that they're listening to people. I know that 8 is hated on by a lot of people, but it's loved by probably just as many.
I would say maybe not just as many, but it's definitely loved. And the big fans of 8 know that that they're going to get people making fun of them or joking with them or whatever. I mean, honestly, if Nintendo has done worse than this, so let's be honest, Square, if you release an optimized, emulated version of that game, it's going to be okay. Like, people are going to really be able to enjoy being able to play something like that on the Switch.
Yeah. The other things that you can expect, I only know of one other one. You're definitely going to see Final Fantasy XIV. The expansion is launching. It's imminent for 5.0, which is crazy. You're definitely going to see that. This is, other than Microsoft, this is the conference that I look forward to. I don't care how poorly they script them. It's very Japanese. It's very dry a lot of the times. They're not very good at pumping people up. They don't have the handle on it like Nintendo does, where Nintendo's is at least goofy. Whenever you're watching their scripting, but this is my company. This is the company
for 25 years, right?
No matter what they do to me, they've made lots of stupid decisions. They've made lots of bad terms that, like, people have already made jokes about Death Stranding versus Final Fantasy VII release dates. Stop it. Like, they didn't get the director of this Final Fantasy VII game didn't even know he was making it when they announced it. Stop giving. They literally gave Hideo Kojima an open checkbook. I don't want to hear it anymore. They make lots of bad and dumb decisions, and I love them all the same. Yes. I will continue to love them until it's going to take a lot at this point. It's a lifetime love for this company. So I always look forward to it. I want to mention before, just because this one maybe not ever is interesting to everybody. No matter what, I watch every single one of them, and there will be a text thing of just every announcement that I always do. So if you don't want to watch any of these, you can watch out for my little blog post that I'll make on facebook.com/TheLanCave that says every single game. But I know a lot of people there's a lot of people that hate Square Enix and have no desire to watch this conference. So don't worry, I will give you all the interesting things. But I can't wait. It's going to be good. We got one more, which they really need to bring it home. So Nintendo is the last conference. I know we're going to get some footage for Ultimate Alliance 3.
because that release is it's a very Nintendo thing
Switch
to be
exclusive.
like Switch exclusive, and it's a very Nintendo thing to be like, hey, this game comes out in a month, where a lot of other companies are like, I don't really need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Nintendo will talk about what's happening like right around the corner, or what just launched. So we'll get some of this. I think that they really need to knock it out of the park, because they are playing. They're the headliner, if you will. It's the very last conference. It's Tuesday at 12 Eastern. I know that's later on when it comes to Japan. I think that's like, isn't that 11 p.m. there?
Got me.
I'm pretty sure it is. So, but they need to bring it home. We need to hear some big things. You had some things listed on here. We have talked about the new Pokemon games, Sword and Shield.
Definitely going to talk about that.
Definitely going to talk about that.
Mario Maker 2.
Mario Maker 2, which was announced already, but that's, again, very Nintendo thing. They'll still talk about it. Let's look at all the cool stuff. You mentioned on here, I'm not taking away your thunder on the first thing there, but sure. 3DS retirement. I didn't hear. Is that your prediction, or was that confirmed? I thought that was confirmed?
No. It is just me listing stuff off there. Like, I can see them at least acknowledging. Like, sure. I mean, it's the most successful handheld of all time. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. They sold a lot
16
of
iterations
DSs.
Of DSs.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I know that it's not necessarily the time to say goodbye. It's most likely going to be in just some random news thing where they're just like, okay, we're not doing through it. But it would be cool if they just acknowledge the fact that, hey, the Switch is killing it. Mm-hmm. We don't really need the 3DS anymore. You still have a giant library. Those games are all still out there. Thanks for all the memories, 3DS.
Thanks for the memories. Thanks for all
I just think it would be cool. No, that was definitely there's no confirmation or anything. That was just me writing stuff in there.
We've been talking about the rumors, which they've all but solidified that that they're probably going to have another Switch SKU. We just don't know what it is. So I still am putting money on it being an optimized version of the Switch.
Yeah.
And by that I mean it's not amazingly better graphics, but maybe the bezel around it is a little smaller. Maybe the battery lasts longer. There's all kinds of small advancements, but it's not going to anyone who's currently a Switch owner. I don't think when this gets announced, I don't think it's going to be anything game changing to the point where people are like, oh, I just bought my Switch and now you came out with this. I think it's going to be small changes like the PSVR versus the second generation of PSVR. Mm-hmm. Great changes. It's great to be the later adopter, but you're not offended as an early adopter. That's my feeling on it. I don't think it's going to be a Switch Mini, or I can't remember. Did you have the prediction that it was one that was just a handheld? Wasn't that one of yours?
I did, yeah. Before I said that that one of their SKUs is handheld only. Like Joy-Cons permanently attached type thing.
I could totally see that. That would be so much cheaper because you wouldn't have to have a lot of the technology involved with the
take out the
Joy-Cons.
docking system.
Take out the docking system. You take out the battery that's in each of those.
Who knows?
Well, I just mean like it could all be one piece. You could still have the gyroscopic stuff, but you don't have to have individual batteries and the charging mechanisms involved. So you could easily charge considerably cheaper for that, which would be an amazingly cheap console if that was the case.
Yeah. This was my other. This is my third and final. Like, this would make me happy. If you do this, I want a new Switch with double the battery life and double the memory. So currently the battery, I don't know how long it normally lasts you. If it's unplugged and everything, I normally get around 3 hours if I'm straight gaming.
Yeah, it's a little over 3. Yeah.
I want 6 hours, and right now the memory is 32 gigs. I want 64 at least. The battery is more important. If you could give me more than 6 hours, that'd be awesome. But I'm not asking for much. Just give me make it to where I can have an extremely lazy Sunday versus, or where
you're not tethered. Where you're not tethered. Well, the other thing to me is, I mean, I will say that my Switch does end up on the docking station when I'm not playing it. But at the same time, like, if I played a little bit now and I know I'm going to go run some errands, like maybe I'm getting some stuff done in the car, whatever it is, where I'm going to have to wait and I bring my Switch with me, I'm a little OCD about it. I'm the same way with my portable battery chargers. Like, I want to make sure if I go somewhere that I have that thing fully charged. I know it's kind of a dependency thing, but at the same thing with the Switch. Like, if I leave the house and it's like at 40%, I'm just like, I might as well just leave it at home. Like,
I bought a 6-foot USB-C cable.
Oh, nice.
So that I don't ever charge it using the dock. There's this $10 charger on Amazon that like they rated it for Switch.
Yeah.
And that's
if it works. I might have to get one of those then.
Yeah, so much easier.
Well, the other bonus, if you will, is I did upgrade to a Pixel, or I was on an older iPhone, so it's not that a Pixel was the upgrade, but I changed my phone as an upgrade. So
nobody's perfect, Chad.
Yeah. So it's USB-C though,
yeah.
So I can use my Switch charger for my phone. So now I'm going on vacation and I'm bringing one charger and it charges both of those devices.
And that's what's great about like Cassie has a new iPad that was USB-C. As resistant as people are to USB-C, as somebody who works in a tech space that's resistant, but trust me, in a couple of years you're gonna love it, folks, because it's gonna plug into. It's just the new USB-C. It's better. It's just better.
Yep. It's better. It's universal. U stands for universal.
They added flash drive support to iPads with a new software version with USB-C flash drives. You can now plug those into iPads.
Oh, that's great.
Not now. They said whenever the next software releases. But anyways, back Switch. That's what I want. I want more battery life, more memory. It's not that I need it. I have a memory card and everything, but I want that battery. That's what I need. I need at least double the battery life. I'll buy another one. I won't even trade the other one in. I'll just give this one to my wife.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
You'll double your attach rate with me, Nintendo.
Yep. No, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. They're saying they don't want one per household. They want one per person.
They want that Switch.
You're going to get that. You're going to get that because I'm going to buy another one before the end of the year, I think.
And here's what I really want.
Yep.
We're getting Link's Awakening in the fall. That was announced. It's a remaster remake situation. I said remake in the thing here. I really just mean remaster. But I want Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
I want it soon. It's not going to come out before Link's Awakening.
Bring me the 3DS version onto Switch.
I'm fine.
That version is great.
It's superior. Majora's Mask is superior too if you haven't played that.
Yes.
Majora's Mask is excellent.
It's so good. It's so good. Bring that onto the Switch. Like, I'm going to buy it again. Same thing with Final Fantasy VII. Like, I'm going to buy Ocarina of Time again. And I'm going to play through it again and I'm going to enjoy it. The 3DS version is the superior version. It is wonderful. Master Quest involved in that was great. So yeah, bringing that to Switch, I think it'd be easy. I do think that it would, if it came out before Link's Awakening, it would completely steal its thunder. It's not going to be before. No, Link's Awakening is going to be fall. Now that we know,
I don't think it'll be this year.
You don't think Link's Awakening is going to be this year?
No, OT. If they announce OT at E3, it would be like January or something. It'd be December. There's no way they would put it that close to Link's Awakening. It would just be bad marketing or just bad thing.
I agree.
I totally understand. I just want them to say it. I
was talking about Link's Awakening, saying like I think Link's Awakening is going to come out in the fall.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ocarina of Time would be next spring or something to that effect. Even though in actuality, if like I said, if you just take the 3DS version and put it on Switch, it's going to be fine, and it wouldn't take that long for them to optimize it.
I don't expect it to happen.
Yeah.
I don't expect Ocarina of Time to get mentioned at all. Like you already mentioned, Nintendo has been living in the moment for the past 2 years. Ever since Breath of the Wild and the Switch launch, they've been keeping it real tight. The things that they've and it's been clear where they've made the mistakes too. We already called out Pokemon earlier when they announced Pokemon for Switch and then said nothing. They made the mistake with Metroid Prime 4, announced that before it was even close, and then what happened? It's trash and they have to start from scratch again. I don't think they're going to do it. It's just one of those things where I'm going to keep calling for it until they do it. I don't think they announce anything that comes out later than December.
So I have my snap moment for this, which would be them announcing the next Zelda game. So And again, Nintendo, like you said, Nintendo is a very in the moment kind of company. But for them to say, "Oh wait, one more thing," and then you see Link and some type of scenario very similar like Skyward Sword, where you see a cinematic that makes you go, "Wait, where are we? What are we doing?" Enough to get you excited, and that's it. And like we'll tell you about it the end, like later on this year, and then they feed us little bits of information about it.
Give me Sheik.
She could be great. I would like a game when they came out with Breath of the Wild, and when you were seeing cinematics of it, there was a rumor, or not really rumor, people just speculating and hoping that part of the game was going to allow you to play as Link. As Zelda.
Yeah.
I would love to do that in a similar fashion to the way that they did Spider-Man on PS4.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm playing the majority of the time. I'm playing as Link. He is the hero of time. Yes, and then very specific segments you play as Zelda. Maybe like as she's either it's a flashback or you're seeing her as she's captive, and she's in Ganon's castle. There could be so many things you could do with that, but adding her as a playable character that continues the story and she helps Link from the inside, very like spy-like, would be really cool. Some stealth mechanics.
Yeah,
maybe cool. Again, you mentioned Sheik, right? So she's a ninja.
Yeah, I mean, if that happened, you know that I would melt. Like,
oh yeah,
that'd be Final Fantasy VII, like being released to available now, times like a million. Because anytime a new Zelda comes out, I flip out. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. If I don't even have the words.
Yeah.
Because I don't. They typically take forever. They're so slow when it comes to Zelda. It's awesome because I have very few complaints about most Zelda titles, aside from Fi from Skyward Sword.
Sure.
So I'm not criticizing them for taking forever, but they take forever between Zelda titles. But hopefully they built something good with Breath of the Wild. If they built an engine that they could build upon, just like what they did with Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
They turned that baby around quick.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say. Do that. You take the engine, you take everything that worked with that game, because Breath of the Wild is possibly one of the greatest games of all time. And you take that, you give me a new scenario, give me you can give almost the same mechanics, all the same mechanics, and then give me a new story, give me a new land to explore. That would be fine. Majora's Mask this stuff. It would be perfect. It has all the seeds that you need right there.
Just take Breath of the Wild, put some dungeons in it. It just like, and I heard, I'm totally stealing it. I'm not saying this is definitely not my idea. I'm totally stealing this from somebody else that was offering some speculation. But imagine just like how in Breath of the Wild, the entire game like is open to you. There's not a lot of loading screen once you get into it. Now imagine a dungeon system similar to the original Legend of Zelda, where the dungeons are all like intertwined in a way. Like whenever somebody mentioned that was a completely interesting concept, because then it gives people what they want. I still want shrines. I still love the shrines. Yeah. I had a lot of fun killing all 120 of those shrines. I still want that action, but I said, I miss a little bit of the traditional. I miss my hook shot. Yeah, my hook shot was my best friend. I wouldn't mind you adding some of that. But if they did any of that, man.
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. You could, I love the shrines, like you said. The shrines were like mini dungeons. I know people talk about like the Guardians being dungeons. The Guardians weren't really that much of dungeons. Like to me, the shrines were more of like, especially some of the longer, more challenging shrines, felt more like the dungeons to me. I would absolutely love that. I still would like a more narrative. I'd like a new story and add the dungeons. I would like to see us go somewhere else, because we've had multiple DLC packs that have come out that have added content to it, and it's great because I've just played through almost all of that on the Switch because I played through it and I didn't do Champion's Belt and a few others. Now that I have, it's really cool, really great stuff.
Yeah.
But I think we've milked that, like that land. I need to go to a new land, if you will. Like they think that's what we need to do. We need to show Link on Epona, straight up rip off Majora's Mask, except don't have the fairies and stuff. And you show him riding into a new land, and then boom, he's accosted by something, and then finds out that Ganon's back or whatever. Like it's easy, just do it.
It's interesting. You mentioned doing a Spider-Man thing with Zelda. Imagine a Spider-Man type thing with the champions, where you get to they already have a little bit of that. That kind of exists with Majora's Mask too. But you can Majora's Mask that thing instead of putting on masks to become a Goron or to become a Burr. I'm totally messing up, blanking on that race right there. Becoming a Zora, play as those characters. Potentially, that would be cool.
That'd be really cool to go back to flashbacks, or what if we played a prequel? Because where we play the events leading up to. I know we've seen
the war.
Yes, we play the war. Events leading up to the all the champions. I know that we know what the ending is, but it could be fun.
The ending is you fight Ganon and you win. That's always
I meant the ending to their story, which is you fight Ganon and you get really injured, and then you get put into spoilers for the setup of Breath of the Wild. But whatever. You fight Ganon, you fail, and then you're left for 100 years in a cryogenic chamber kind of thing going on. And Zelda is holding it down for 100 years, holding Ganon away. Yeah,
she looked pretty good for being 100 years old.
Yeah, she did.
This is what happens when we start by talking about E3 and then Patrick mentions the next Zelda game, and then we can go down Speculation Alley. So thanks for bearing with us. That's the last E3 conference. Is there any other things, any other predictions, any other wild, like this would be awesome, any other hopes and dreams as we close out the E3 hype?
Well, that's about it for me, other than some talk about the new next generation of consoles. I'm ready to have that discussion.
Okay.
So
the only other thing that I had that's not an E3 prediction, because it would technically be outside of E3, is that PlayStation does a PlayStation Plays.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. They're not gonna do they're not gonna do it at the same time as another conference. They're not jerks. They're not going to. They would lose. People are already going to be tuned in. But I say they announce and do a PlayStation Plays maybe after Nintendo Direct, maybe in the middle of the week, maybe on Thursday or something before the doors open at E3. For those of you who don't know, they do all the conferences and then they do all the convention floor stuff. So they're separate type things, but together. Somewhere right there in that lull between doors opening and everything, Sony's like, "Hey guys, what's up? How about 10 minutes? You want a little 10-minute action? Let's talk about The Last of Us 2."
Right after there's so many times they could do it, right after Ubisoft. There's a good, that's 4 p.m. so they usually go a little long. Let's say they go to 5:30. You got from 5:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern, that there's a lull that Sony could drop something at 6. It would be so easy for them to do it because everyone is so hyped about E3. It would be dumb for them not to show something, not to do something from an online presence standpoint.
Let's talk
Last of Us is great. Let's talk about Last of Us 2. Definitely. So let us know in the comments what you're most excited about when it comes to E3. Are you most excited about Last of Us? Do you want some Zelda? We do. Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.